welcome into this video. This will be a short synthesis of the last 2 weeks of prep, then the 2 days prior and the day of the show. Now it's time to deliver. Showtime. During the last 2 weeks before the show, it was really about speeding up as much as I could the fat loss, because there was a slight problem with the conditioning of the back of my legs. The hamstring, glutes tie-in, everything was ready. As we say, the upper body is ready 2 months prior to the lower body. The main thing here for me was this lower glute, upper hamstring area, which needed a lot of effort on my part to really lose the fat. And 2 last weeks were basically about that, and also doing a test of a specific protocol that we do when we are cutting out, and that is to actually do a carb depleting phase. So you are basically into ketosis mode. You are basically close to 0 carbs when doing a ketosis, and after a few days of that, so you're sure to have depleted everything that you could into the muscle and the liver glycogen. It's really just about, fat burning. So every tiny little spot of fat that you have still left in your body, this is going to be the fuel. This is going to be this last kilogram of fat that maybe you will not see, but on stage is going to change everything. And depending on the person, it can be, around the stomach, it can be the love handles, it can be the glutes, it can be the quads, it can be the adductors, it can be the hamstring, but it's mainly around the midsection and the legs. And this is what really takes your physique from impressive to freakish, because there is virtually no weak points. There is nothing else to lose. And so for me, this was that. These 2 last weeks were about losing that tiny little spot of fat left and doing this mock week of testing out how my body is responding to both this depleting phase, but also this rebuilding phase. Because after that, you have to do a phase where you will basically eat very minimal amount of fat, like 20 to 30 grams per day. And you will bump up the calories and have it basically just carbs. My depleting days, my ketosis days, so 5 per week, they were 2,000 kilocalories. It was basically 220 to 40 grams of protein, 70 grams of carbs, something like 80 grams of fat, or a little lower, 75 grams, and that was it. And on the high carbs day, it was 200 grams of protein, or 220, 450 grams of carbs, and 32 grams of fat, which was around 3,000 kilocalories. Definitely not something healthy, definitely not something I would recommend you to do, except if you have a very specific goal in mind. And strictly speaking, normally when you're doing ketosis, you're supposed to have medical surveillance. So do not do that, on your side alone without having anyone that could potentially take care of you if something happens, all right? On the Friday, we departed very early in the morning because we had to do a 2-hour drive to go into the city of the competition. So I was extremely lucky to have my sponsor Nutrimuscle help, because they were also a partner of the event. Basically, they were there to have a supplement store, to also help with the rewards for the winners, and I think they also help with the logistics. So adding a little team to have us with Louie get there and also assist to everything that is needed, for them it was no problem at all. So we jumped on the occasion because it was a lot of stress and organization and mental strength, mental energy that we did not have to spend for that. And yet again, we thank them for that. It was really easier than it could be, and I know. And our goal was to go and arrive at 8 or 9. It was to be the first one for the waiting. So the waiting, guys, is basically a big room where you're waiting. You are then checking up for the registering, so you give your name, your surname, they give you your numbers, you have your card. Also as an athlete, that they will either give you all that you already had. As a classic guy, I did not have to do anything but being measured. So I was measured at 174 centimeter. I was then put into the short class because it was basically 175 short class, 175 to 180 medium class, 180 to 185 was the tall, and tall was 185 and beyond. And no weighting, but I know that I was around 77 kilograms. For Louie, we originally aimed at 175 pounds, which is very exactly, so 79.8 kilogram, because we wanted him into the middle heavyweight of the bodybuilding division. But the problem is that he wanted to do 2 categories, and there was a mismatch with the registration, and so he either could not do 2 categories or he had to go in classic with me. And the goal was not to go on stage together, it was to each of us have our spot on stage. So he went into this novice bodybuilding, you know, for like the first timers, which he is. And the problem is that the last minute they changed the weight category, and it was not 79 kilogram anymore, it was 77. And unfortunately, we passed that for the mock week, when it was, you know, the testing stuff. We both of us ended up at the same weight, but for this time it was 300 grams above the limit. So yeah, it was not a big problem, because the goal was for him to really enjoy the first competition, first and foremost, but also to really be ready for that middle heavyweight. You know, this was the real goal. This novice thing was like the side quest. Still, it was a problem for me because I am the one who trained him and coached him for 2 years. And I was a bit disappointed into my own capacity as a trainer, because we prepped for that. We succeeded on that test week, as I said, and that when it counts, we were not able to do it. We were also in a mental state where we are tired, we are fasted, we are thirsty, we are hungry. We just want this to get done. So then we arrived into the Airbnb. We went to go for the groceries. Then we went to do the last training session, which was basically just warm up. It was just really pumping up as much we could into the upper body, because when you're preparing for a show, you're so lean, you're so shredded, that water retention and water movement will be showed for your body. Any kind of water retention will immediately show, because there is no fat left. Then we arrive at the presentation of the event, so they basically presenting us everything that we need to know as athletes. And it was Jimmy, so the guys that I knew from my first ever competition. It was Musclemania 2014 in Paris, and he was in men's physique. And I think he also did the next one in NFS. Yeah, always nice to see him, and also he's the president of WNBF, so I'm very happy for him. Like, he really progressed into everything he loved and wanted to do. They told us basically how the show would go, and they presented everything. There was a new thing with the classic division, because prior WNBF did not do any kind of classic physique. It was bodybuilding and men's physique. That's it. So it was the first year. After that, we went home. I was totally tired. Louie was tired. We eat, and then because of a short night that we had, we did not last long. But mood-wise, it was great. It was better. But it's just that, you know, reminiscing about it, we were so done. We had no patience. All we wanted was to eat and sleep. That's it. When you're deep down into this kind of caloric deficit, it's really what you just think about. It's just, oh fuck, I just want to eat, and I want to be left alone, and I want just to sleep, and I want to eat, and I want to sleep while eating, and I want to eat while I sleep. It's really just that. And we were ready, and we were just, you know, waiting for that. The next day, because the competition was 2 days, on Saturday we were not competing. It was for men's physique and all the female categories. So we had that last day to be chill, to be relaxed, and to really prepare, you know, whatever we had to do, just enjoy the calm before the storm. So for that day, what we did is drill the posing again and again and again. We checked the physique. We kept rebounding, you know, kept eating the carbs, because it's still good, you know, everything was great. The body is just soaking up, you know, the carbs. The carbs are drawing water into the muscle, so your muscles are just getting fuller and fuller, but you still have no fat, and you have no water retention, because everything is being drawn into the muscle. So it's perfect, you know. For a few days, you literally look like a god. In that state, we are able to, you know, drill the posing, make sure that everything was right. We also did the last detail thing, you know, and at night, what we did was to apply some pre-tan. So during the show, you have to use tan. So you're literally, it's a cream, you put it on your skin, and it's going to make you look more tanned, you know, darker, but it's also going to catch the light to really highlight your body. What you can do is use pre-tan, which is literally like a tanning spray, but it's also helping the real tan, the cream tan, to really grab and glue to your skin and stay there better, because it's a cream. So if you go into the shower, the cream will flow out. If you sweat too much, it's going to also be removed. If you are wearing clothes, the wear and tear, and the scratching and the scrubbing, it can also remove it. Using the pre-tan for Louie was maybe not as necessary as it was for me, because it was already getting me to actually be more tanned from the get-go, and then adding the re-tan on top of that. Because yes, skin tone is extremely important for bodybuilding. If you are extremely pale, you are at a disadvantage. That's why in the golden era, they were actually always tanning. They were always on the beach tanning. Now we are cheating with the creams, but it's the same. And that was basically it, just preparation, just making sure that we were ready. Something that happened that shook me as much as it grounded me was that I was speaking to my father. He just wanted to know that if I arrived well, and everything was okay. And I told him that yes, because we had seen each other a bit prior, and I was not able, because it was his birthday, I was not able to eat cakes and stuff like that. You can't afford to do, because you can't. It will count for the prep. It will count for the end result. So I sent him a few pictures of the shape, and I told him this is how I look. It's been 14 weeks of prep, a bit more if you count the hard training. Even when I was recamping, I did my best, just like he told me. And for the first time ever, he wrote that he was proud of me. And I was with a phone like that, and I didn't know what to do about it. It's like I had voices in my head, and all of a sudden, a shit ton of them went quiet. And it's like, I don't know, it's like I had weight off, I guess. But it felt weird, and I was with it. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to answer. So, I asked Louis for help. Louis, what am I doing? He told me that. What do I do? And he just said, well, don't leave him unseen. Just say him thank you and that you love him. So yeah, when you're doing a prep, you have to remain very still and cold and calculated and factual. If there is too much emotion, there is a possible stress involvement, and stress is extremely bad when you're prepping, because it can make you produce a shit ton of cortisol. Cortisol will fuck up your physique. It will make you do a shit ton of water retention, and it can blunt the fat loss. So it's why it's so key when you are doing a prep to really being ground zero for everything. I was scared that even this emotion was also going to spike cortisol, but I think it actually relaxed me. I'm thankful for that, because it was not part of the plan. I don't know if it helped. I don't know if it maybe nerfed me in some way, but since then it's easier to breathe. And on showtime and on Sunday, I needed to breathe. We woke up around 6. We needed to be extra early, both because of me, because I was going into the morning, but also because when you go into the competition for bodybuilding, basically the athletes have to be backstage, not like backstage, but like they have a spot to have their bags and their belongings and everything, and also to wait until they are cold and it's their turn. You cannot stand and stay still, even seated, to really be sure that to put our little camping beds and just be chill. After that, I needed to go to the tanning spray cabins, because there was like a third party. It was Rivera Tan. I wanted to do it done by professional, because I knew from the past experience that I really need a shit ton of tan, because I'm very pale, very white. And also because it's more time efficient, because they are not going to do it with like the painting jar. They are going to do it with a spray, like real pros. And I had up to 3 coat, and I knew I needed it because in my previous competition I would do just 2, sometimes a little thin third coat, and it was barely enough. So I was like, I have my two pre-tan coats, and then I'm going to do 3 tan coats to be sure. So I went there. You basically have to be naked or almost naked. Every guy is there already because it's like the full day, and they are preparing you 2 hours prior to let you dry, and then you're ready for the stage. So I arrived at 9. They were done by maybe 9:30, 9:45. But then I basically had to stay again, like almost naked, like almost in a T-pose, like that. I was actually like this, holding my finger like that to dry. And you are like this to avoid making marks around the chest or the armpits. And you have to not, support yourself or anything, because it's going to leave a mark. Like if you go like that, it's going to leave a mark here. If I go like that, it's going to leave a mark in the back. And I had to wait 1 hour for it to dry. At some point I was able to pull my pants, and I was extremely cold. And then finally it was also good for the upper body. So I went back, I lied down, and I was shivering. I was freezing. It was just like 9 degrees outside, 8 degrees. There was a shit ton of wind. You had to stay in the cold because the cold worked better for the tan to dry faster. I'm basically naked and I'm shredded. There is no fat. There is nothing. My metabolism is shot. Like I'm not healthy, So it was quite a bit of a concern for me at some point, because it's like I had like coats and everything on top of me, and I was still, literally shivering like that. Fortunately, it passed, and then my division get called up, and all of a sudden there is like this stress coming up because half the room is emptying, and then it's like, okay, this is getting real. Now it's my turn. And it had been 6 years, guys, that I didn't went on stage. Last time was 2019, 4th May, but it's been so long, I feel like maybe I'm too old, maybe I'm wasted. But then at the same time, it's like, bro, you have never looked so good. And you know what? I still have some more under the pedal, so I'm just going to do it. We are literally backstage to pump up, so we are hearing everything. There is the loud music, there is the loud announcement, at the mic. Back, double biceps, side chest, etc. They are shouting, they are extra hard, they are cheering so much. And then all of a sudden, there is a big ass pair of arms and big legs and wide shoulder like that comes. And Samuel Hartmann is there. For those of you that do not know, Samuel Hartmann is like literally the future of French bodybuilding. He won everything he could as a natural athlete. Then he passed on the other side, and now he's aiming for Mr. Olympia, basically. First his pro card, obviously, but he has the size, he has the physique, he has the presentation, the posing, everything, and he's there. And he's like, okay, let's go, bro. And so he helped me pump up. He gave me last minute tips, things that I already knew for most, but just him telling me that, it's like it confirms it. He's like, yeah, this is actually a good idea. Oh, I knew this, but now he tells me that, and it's like, oh, I didn't know how important it was. And I just think back, everything these last years, everything since this last competition, everything that I did during this prep, this extremely hard summer, this extremely hard spring. And then, it's like, okay, time to do my job. There is something, guys, that I do not believe in. It is this self-made man stuff, because I believe that at some point you have been helped. There is no way no one helped you at some point when you are extremely high into whatever you're doing, whatever if it's a business, or if it's studying, or if it's a career, or if it is a sport career, or whatever endeavor. There are at least some people at some point that were here for you. And I just see them all, there are so many people that had my back, and you guys. I rethink of all these comments, and sometimes I did not want to go out of bed because I was freezing, because I was tired. I was like, why the hell am I doing this? And I think back of all the comments that you left me, guys. It's so evident. Of course I'm going to do it. And then I get cold, and it's time. When you arrive on stage, you have to do, first thing, the quarter turn. So you're basically showing your body from the front, one side, from the back, the other side, and you get back to the front. This is the first ever comparison they will do of you with the other. And I just do what I do, I know these poses. And it's easy. it's flowing, or at least it looked like it. And then they redo a second time, and then they switch me. I was on the far left, and then they put me in the middle. And I'm like, oh, I'm in the middle. Okay. When you're put in the middle, guys, it means that they are not comparing you to the others. It means they are comparing the others to you. And it literally happened like a minute or less. So I'm like, oh, that's actually nice. That's very good. And then we do the mandatories. So there was a modified front double biceps. You just had to add one hand open. Same thing for the back double biceps. All the other poses were like slight modification of like the usual one, you know. And they keep me there. And I'm like, oh, nice. And then we do another round. Okay. And then they put us all in the back. And there is something in bodybuilding that is extremely important, and that is the first call out. Because if you get cold in the first call out, it smells nice. You're basically top 5. But when you're cold, the first one in the first call out, okay, it's getting real, and I get cold the first. All right, okay. I know there is a top 3. I know top 3 is there, maybe even the top 1, because I'm the first one of the first call out. So I'm like, okay, now I lock in for real. Like before I was locked in, now I'm even more locked in. So we do the same thing, quarter turn, mandatory poses, everything. And then there is the second group. So the guys that are into the second call out, they do the same. While I'm in the back, I'm just keeping presentable, but at the same time I'm catching my breath and everyone is exhausted, Posing is extremely hard. It may look simple and easy, but if you have done at least a little posing in front of a mirror, now imagine it's been 10 minutes. And then they call us for the pose down. Pose down, guys, is a moment where you basically have a minute and you have to be the center of attention. You have to be the one that everyone is looking at, especially the judges. And so, 2 rules. First one, no one in front of you. Second, get in the center, because that's where the light is better. That's where everyone will see you. You cannot be on the edges. And that's also where you can do the poses that you want. The poses that you master the most, where you look the best, whatever the variation, whatever the angle. You just do what you do. And I am able to showcase much better my vacuum, my back, etc., etc. And slowly but surely I get in the middle and I stay in the middle. And then something that was extremely well done is that then they all put us into the back and you immediately have a result. You don't have to wait hours and hours. So it was extremely fast paced, but that's how they literally were able to squeeze 300 athletes and double amount of people coming to see them in just 2 days. Stage is stage, but then there is the respect, right? So we clap all the time and names and names and names, and then it's top 3 and I'm like, oh, I did the top 3, damn, nice. And then they call one name, then they call another name, and then they call mine, and I realize I won.
Il est médaille d'argent cette année, médaille d'or cette année bien sûr. Axel, un tonnerre d'applaudissements.
Because I won. Of course it feels amazing, I won.
Donc là pour le moment, il va falloir encore se battre. Magnifique, magnifique, c'est mérité, mérité. Ah mais moi j'ai crié. J'ai plus de voix.
Il va s'envoler, il va s'envoler.
Il va s'envoler.
Oui, oui.
Il va s'envoler comme un oiseau.
Ah non, ça, j'avais pas vu un posing comme ça depuis. Oh là là.
Et
Champion mondial.
2 things. First, I'm not done because I won my class and there will be an overall. And in the overall, the second thing is that you can win a pro card. So I am done. Get back in. Everyone is cheering, everyone is congratulating me. Louie was able to come back just last minute to see me win. So first thing I do, embrace him as I can, because, there is a tan and everything, and I have, the trophies and stuff. And then I'm like, okay, I know I have like half an hour. So I eat, I shake a few hands. I drop the medals. So again, I bump. This time Louis is here. And so we get on stage and same thing, quarter turn, mandatory poses, then
Merci beaucoup, vraiment, à Fitness Park. Contente de Fitness Park aussi. Elle est là. Voilà, regarde, pour ce cadeau. Allez, bravo, là on met un peu plus de temps, parce que là quand même, regardez, il y a des gros cards. Là, le cadeau de notre partenaire, le cadeau de Fitness Park. Et on les encourage. Second favorite classic pose.
Merci Herso,
Ok,
merci.
et regardez la caméra
Merci
derrière.
Michael.
Allez, on...
Bravo. Bravo, tu mérites. Tu mérites, frérot.
I won my pro card and I won the second medal, which is the first of the overall. And yeah, I won. I won, guys. I became a pro. And I am the first classic physique champion of France in the WNBF. And I won a 1 year of team membership for free. And I won like 8 kilograms of weight from my sponsor, you know, because they were giving me the reward. So it's nice. It's nice. It's very nice. Very, very nice. I was done and I had won everything. But I was not going to relax just yet. When I was not going to pig out and eat just yet. Now it's Louie's turn. So let's go. The first time he was on stage was for this Northeast thing, where we missed the weight, unfortunately. One of the lightest and one of the shortest. All the other guys were taller and heavier than him. I was confident. But the problem is that I'd won my pro card. And the thing is that when you win a pro card, or like when you do top 3 at overall, they ask you, they pull you on the side and they ask you for a steroid test, you know, with a pee, a urine test. And I had no time. I literally had no time. I just put my stuff down and then immediately they told me, you have to go upstairs, you have to go pee for the testing. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, I come. I go there, you know, they put us into a little office, you know. They give us a lot of water, little water bottle, and they told us, you know, just chill and wait, and when you can, you go. And so I'm with all the other ones, you know, we are congratulating ourselves together, and everything is fine. It's very good and comfortable. And so I drink 3 bottles, and it's not coming. I don't want to pee, and I see the time clocking onto the screen, and you know, like. It's not the first time I do one. The first time was back in 2019. So I know that I need a shit ton of water, but I need time. And I don't have time. I need to be with Louie. So I'm drinking, and I'm drinking, and I'm drinking, and I'm like, can I get a coffee, please? You know, just to speed this thing up. And so the lady was extremely nice. She went, and she did back with her, like a espresso shot, you know, maybe a double. I drink it, and I wait, and I wait. And I feel something is happening in the stomach, but it just won't move. And drank like 5 little bottles, so like 2.5 liter of water. And I barely have a little bulge, you know, when you're digesting, you know, your stomach is not flat and empty. I barely have a bulge like that. Like, oh, fuck's sake, this is going to take forever. So, you know, I'm massaging, you know, I'm doing stuff. And I see the time clocking, and I'm like, oh, fuck. And at some point, I start to feel something a little. So I'm like, oh, okay, we can go. And I try, and like 3 drops. And nothing else. I'm like, it's not enough. You have to give just like when you go to the lab, you know, when you have health problem, you know, you have to give a minimum amount. So then I sit back down again, and I drink more, and I drink more, and I drink more. I think 3 liters in total. And then finally, I was able to give like really the bare minimum. And then, okay, is it good? Oh no, you have to sign this paper. Okay, I have to sign the paper. Oh shit, I did a mistake. Oh fuck. Okay, peace. I have to put the little bottle myself into the little plastic thing, and etc. I have to sign stuff, you know, and then it's done. Okay, I rush back down at the exact moment Louie stepped on stage, and I am again incredibly happy, and I thank again Samuel Hartman for being here, because Louie was basically alone, and he didn't really know what to do, because I wasn't here, you know, to cheer him up and really like show him how it's done, because while I was doing it, he was back into the tanning cabin. Samuel came in and was like, okay, let's go, and he basically did the same with him that he did with me. So thank you so much for that, because it really helped him. Samuel was the best part of me to really have you get it prived up backstage. So he went on stage, and he's doing great. He's doing the poses like we drilled. You know, I'm very proud of him because he had literally no background into bodybuilding 2 years prior. I really took him from gym bro to 1 year of really solid bodybuilding training to then just 1 year to be ready for a show. And we started to train the posing about 1 year ago. We just a little posing here and there. And from this, it became almost second nature to him. And also we built that solo routine. So I know how good he can be. And I see him on stage and he's doing very fine. And then there is this call out, and he's not the first one being called out. It's another guy who is actually one of the trainee of the Galois brother, the ones that we trained at a few times in the year for specific Nutrimuscle project. And the guy is tall, he's huge, he's wide, and he's the first one to get called out in that first call out. Then Louie is the second or the third, and it's like, oh, okay, but maybe he won't be first, but who knows, who knows. And they do the poses, and he's doing fine, there is no mistake, literally. Then they do the pose down, same thing. He knows he has to be in the center. He knows he has to try and get in front of everyone. He really does it well. And then the result, and he gets second on his first show. And if he would not have been into this heavy class of novice, he would have been in lightweight. I think he would have won. He's the shortest, the lightest, and almost the smallest, almost. So it's a huge accomplishment. Of course, it's like, oh fuck, second. We immediately, take him on the side, we talk to him, even Samuel also. If you do not know Samuel, before winning world champion as a WNBF athlete, he got second place a shit ton of time. Samuel was more a second place athlete than the first place athlete. But the thing is that with the first place, you just need it once. Second place, you can do them your whole life, but you should just get first one time, then it's done. So a second place is not a punition. It's not you who did not do the job properly. It just means that there are a few stuff that should have been done better, and here we knew what could have been done better. And it's just that next time you take them in account, and you come back better, and you apply yourself, and this time you will have a result. The moment, in my opinion, when you are in the top 3, you won. You won, at least in bodybuilding. The difference between the first one and the second one and the third one, most of the time, is just about the opinion and the judges. There is no clear winner, or it's extremely rare to bodybuilding. One guy is just above everyone else, and then the second guy is just oh, well, I guess he's the next guy. No, it's always very close. It's always about, everyone's opinion and own taste. Take bodybuilding into the 80s or 90s, for example. Some of you would have Kevin Devron won over Jay Cutler and Dorian Yates and Ronnie Coleman. Some of you would have preferred Flex Wheeler. Some of you would have preferred Bob Paris. Some of you would have preferred Francis Benfado. Some of you would have preferred Mohamed Makawi. Lee Priest, all these guys are so great, are so awesome. It's some of them never scratched a Mr. Olympia title, and yet you know about them. Why? Because they were so great. And all of them in between contests would beat each others. So at some point, really, it's about the taste. It's about the tasting of the judging, and the opinions. So at the moment you do a top 3, in my opinion, in the bodybuilding show, you won't, because it's you were one of the best. And if you're first one, it's great, obviously, congrats. But if you're second one, any other guy, any other day, it would have been a different set and team of judges. Maybe you could have won. And when you're third, it's the same, basically. So when you aim for the top 3, in my opinion, in bodybuilding, you aim for victory all the time. But he's not done. Now he has to go with the middle heavyweight. And that time, I'm here for him. That time we go in together. We are backstage together. I prep him. I reassure him. I'm here for him. I pump him the best I can. I'm always checking the physical. Oh, we're going to go onto the lats, delt, chest. Okay, arms, more biceps. Let's do little vacuum. Let's check this. Show me your pose. Okay. And then time to go onto the show. He's on stage and I'm right behind. And I'm filming everything. And I see him. And I see him battling with guys that have years and years of experience. He's a noob. Louie is a noob. He's just first time ever doing competition and just 2 years of real serious training with me. for bodybuilding purposes, and with guys that have been doing that for years and years, both competition and bodybuilding. And I see him, and he's doing everything perfectly. Everything. There is no mistakes. There is nothing that he's doing wrong. Every poses, everything is done properly. And then there is a pose down. And on the pose down, there was 2 other guys that were basically as big or bigger than him. And he did something extremely smart. It forces them all into a most muscular, where all the guys are in most muscular. So he forces them into this, and then he goes in front of them, triceps, chest, bam, bam, bam. For a few seconds, maybe not the whole pose down, but for a few seconds, everyone into the room was looking at him. Every single one. And then, results. And Louie got 3rd. He got 3rd against champs, against guys that have been doing it for years, that have been into bodybuilding for I don't know how long. I'm so proud of him. Because when we talked about this competition thing, I told him, I cannot promise you a win, but I'm going to give you my best, and the goal is to do a top 3. Nothing less. That was the goal. And we succeeded. In my humble opinion, I think it was better than the guys that got 2nd, but I was on the back, so I did not really see. It is also, again, personal taste and opinion, but in my opinion, 3rd or 2nd or 1st, almost the same. The only thing here is that, unfortunately, he did not have a spot to go to the overall and maybe get a pro card, but that's it. It's first show. First show, he gets 2nd, and then he gets 3rd in a highly competitive competition. If there was one competition for natural guys that you needed to do in France, and you really wanted, to be like a challenge, the best one, WNBF would be it. Because it was that good. Not only there was a huge respect for the athletes, something that was not always the case in the competitions that I did, there was a very good mood around. The environment was quite healthy, in my opinion, and no one was like mean or like disrespectful, like toxic or whatever. My first show, I finished 4th out of 4, so I finished last. His first show, his 2nd in a class he should not have done, because in the one we were aiming at, with really the highest level, he get 3rd. So I'm proud of him. I'm really proud of him. After that, finally, because it's been 5 hours I was done, we get to drink, we get to celebrate with cookies, with chocolate, and for the food, we went to something that we never ever ate, and he wanted to eat it. Tacos. French tacos. So it was extremely fat. It was so fucking delicious. It was extremely fat, and we were all together, with all the NM staff, all of them together, and it was so nice. It was so nice, to have. As I said, there is the stage, right? And then there is the after, and the after we are all hugging each other in between athletes, in between coaches and prepper, whatever. Everyone, is showing love and support, and it's done. The fight is done. So now we are just, chilling with each other, because the guys that won against Louie into the novice was dead, Hugo, I think he's called. He was dead, and the coaches too, the Galois brothers, they were here. All good. We were all joking around and having a blast, And then it was time to go back. It was time to take the road again, and just like for the way in, it was Quentin, which was the Nutrimuscle project manager that drives us. So amazing, always great help, great mood, everything, and I just got home, and I had my trophies and my medals. I did my bag, I ate a bit, and I went to sleep as a pro athlete. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the support. Thank you for all the comments, for all the likes, for all the views, for everything, every DM, every share, everything. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for being here, and thank you for watching this whole thing. There are a lot of things planned for the future now. I will talk about it in upcoming videos. All right, gotta go. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for being here.